I had the pleasure of sitting down with the one, the only mayor of Miami, Leah Black. And today we share this never before aired or heard chat with Miss Black. Leah's been on our podcast before, so search the back feed. We had a great chat with Leah, and now we continue it. We talk all about it's. This is a standalone episode, but it's really good. We talk all about RHOM, her friendship with Jeff Lewis. We talk all about Jeff Lewis and Jeff and Jenny and Gage and all the boyfriends. We talk about it all. This was recorded sometime earlier, but it's never been before aired, and it's New Year's Day. And what better day than to share this chat with the one, the only Leah Black. Welcome back to 2024. We're going to have a good year here behind the velvet rope. We are coming in with a bang next week. We got some explosions, but just personally, I hope all my subscribers and listeners, Patreons, I hope you guys have a great year. We're going to make 2024 good. Okay. It's just, did anyone have a good 2023? If you did, we're going to have a good 2024. If you haven't had a good 2023, guess what? It's a new year. But now we share this never before aired chat with the one and only Miss Leah Black. Well, I want to switch gears and talk about all of the charity work which you do, which we saw on Miami Housewives.
Yeah.
How did you, I mean, I know you're a very giving person. How, because, it's not easy, right, to pull all that together.
When I got married, I had just sold the company that I had spent so many years building. I had a non-compete, and I got out of that company because I was traveling 100,000 miles a year at least. And I was like, I'm not doing this and getting married. So I got out of it. And then after a while, I was like antsy, but I'm limited in what my capabilities are. I'm good at raising money, I guess. So I went to this event one night, and I'd been hearing all these stories about with lawyers and how their clients are in jail, and how some of them are wrongfully in jail, and so I hear, and then I'll be on the phone with the spouse or the kid or the daughter of somebody who was going to jail, and it was just horrifying to me. It was a world I didn't even think about being in jail. It didn't hurt me. So then I started following prisons to pipeline and, all the mischaracterization of whatever, the misjustices that are going on. And then, I'd see people that were should be in jail that weren't, and people that weren't in jail that should. And then I was at this event one night, and this guy came up to me and said, you should really help keep these young kids out of jail. And so I said, yeah, I really should. I'm doing nothing, my lazy self. So he told me about this event. So I went to it. And this guy was on crutches because he had been shot in the back, a black guy, at an early age in the crossfire. And he was trying to raise money and awareness for young kids not to get in trouble. And I could tell he didn't know what he was doing. He was trying. He had all this artwork there to sell. No one was buying anything. Hardly anybody was showing up. It was in the art district. So I just went around the whole neighborhood and grabbed 20, 30, 40 people. Come on, you got to come over here. You got to look at this art. It's for a good cause. But no one was buying it. So then I just picked up the microphone and started selling it piece by piece by piece. Before you knew it, $18,000 in the door, we sold the art. And then I looked at the paper plates and the paper cups, and I was like, if you really kind of knew how to raise money, and plus the guy's heart, his heart was totally in it. It was just so out of his league, And so I said, I'm going to have one of the fundraisers. So I had one in my backyard and gathered a few friends, had one in the backyard. We raised a bunch of money. And then I got Barry Gibb one year. He was my first big get. He's a friend. And after he performed, I was able to get other performers. So he was my first big get. And my last big get was Aretha. And I got all those people over the years, except for two, for free. So I got them to come and sing and dance. And I had Pharrell and Pitbull and Queen Latifah and Tony Bennett and Rick Ross, and I had all of them, Natalie Cole, Dionne Warwick. I got them all to perform for free. So it became a full-time job. And it cost me a lot of money because I had to go to everyone else's event to get them to come to mine. I had to donate to everything. I turned my house into the charity for 15 years. We had hundreds of pieces of artwork and things to sell at the charity sitting in my house all year long. I had staff coming in and out. My staff was waiting on everybody. I had to have an extra housekeeper, an extra cook, and all this. And I paid for all that myself. And then one day I said, I'm going to move them to the office. So then I get this office, and then I'm like, well, I may as well just put it in with the skincare as well. So now we were running the charity and the skincare out of one office. And then that became like just over, it was just out of control. We'd have 200 auction items some year. And I just kept trying to just sell this stuff. And it was just year after year after year. And after Aretha performed, then along came COVID. And then I was like, I'm not going back to that. I'd rather work hard, make more money, and donate the money than go back to working for free with people attacking me, like at the reunion where you see people attacking me about a charity. And I'm like, what have you done lately? I mean, what have you done for a charity lately? You attack me. And that was why I was upset about that, even though someone said recently that they read that I stormed out off the set or something. Well, that's just not true. If it were true, remember when Lisa Rinna walked off the set? They had showed that clip 1,000 times. If I walked off or stormed off the set, you think that wouldn't have that clip on a loop? So it's just not true. But it was just like, I felt like no matter how much you do, like the people would come, I appreciate you giving me the $1,000, but you spent $600 on the shoes to get here. Why don't you buy cheaper shoes and give me $1,600? So it was always pushing everybody. And I just became like, people are going to be like this when they see me, like, oh my God, he's coming after my money again. But I feel like if you have so much money, you should just give some of it to these kids that had nothing. And that was just, I really felt like that. And so I had no problem asking people for money. My husband would just go, he would walk up, he would just go away. He cringed when I asked people for money. Not me. I'm like, where's your credit card? One year, Pamela Anderson was there. I said, Pamela, there's got to be another way we can raise money. She goes, I'll just sit on men's laps. I'm like, 10 grand and Pamela sit on your lap, 10 grand and Pamela sit on your lap. She did. We made like 30 grand there. With these rich guys, come sit on my lap, here's 10 grand. I mean, I just was so obsessed with bringing the money. And when I got off the merry-go-round, it's like, I don't even know if I did it. Everyone's fighting about where they're going to sit and what table they're going to be at. And the photographers can't be there because I'm bringing my mistress instead of my wife. And I mean, it's just so much. And Jason and I were doing all of it, plus a few volunteers.
It is a lot of work. So at that, Pamela, literally like 10,000, she went and sat on someone's lap, another 10,000. Yeah.
Well, then we auctioned off her panties one year, remember? We had our panties in auction. We would do anything to bring in money, but we gave all the money to the kids, all of it. Our overhead was like maybe the postage, and usually I pay that.
How much did Pamela Anderson's panties go for?
Do you remember, Jason? Did we sell them or did nobody buy them? Pamela's panties. Remember when we auctioned them off and your friend got mad at me because I called out her name and people thought maybe she was gay when she wasn't? Do you remember how much we sold them for? Does it remember? Probably a few thousand.
That's what I would think.
Well, they were pretty lace panties.
And wait, what did
if
you
you're
say?
Size 2.
Someone thought she was gay.
Oh, I said, I called out this girl and said, what about you? Why don't you buy them? And then she thought I was indicating that she was gay when I really wasn't. I was just looking for people that had money sitting around. It was always something. Then there was a time that Aretha wouldn't get on the stage. And I mean, not Aretha, Patti LaBelle, until she was paid and Jason didn't bring the check. And my husband ran and gave her a credit card to hold on to while she performed. Remember that one? And then she got up and performed, and oh my God, it was just too much. It was one disaster after the other. And then when I went to see Aretha, and we became very good friends after that. We texted for a long period of time. But when I went up to see her, she was one of the two that charged. We got a sponsor to pay it. But then she wanted me to pay her in cash, and then she counted the cash in front of me twice. Like, this is surreal. I have got to get back and sell more tickets and more tables and get more auction items in. Just count it. It was just these people, you don't realize the level that they operate at. It's such a different mentality than we have. And I get it. That's their voice, that's their look, that's their brand, and they want it to be perfect. But honey, you're performing in front of 1,000 drunk people on South Beach. Get over it.
I was just gonna say, well, first of all, you just said 8,000 things that like do you see my mouth is like just dropped open for so many reasons. None of it really shocks me, but I find it so fascinating.
Nobody
So
knows most of this because we never really talk about it. We just
no,
did it.
I find so like Aretha just literally is like stands there and is counting the money to make sure
Well,
it's
she
all
had
there.
her brother, her bodyguard, or somebody with her, and yeah, because she wanted to be paid in cash because she didn't have time to cash the check. You know what that told me about her is that she's been ripped off many times in her life, or she wouldn't have done that. And we became friends, but she was difficult up until the time she performed. And once she performed, she sent me flowers, and then she sent me perfume, and then she invited me to go stay with her at Adrienne Arch's house in DC when she was performing. And then when she performed at the piano, she had my handbag that we sell online on the piano, and she just became an amazing person. And it really couldn't be any nicer. But I think she'd just been mistreated for so many times and probably not paid and probably ripped off and by agents and managers and partners and whatever, that she was at a point in her life where I'm this old, I'm going to get on a bus because she won't fly, and I'm going to drive from Chicago to Miami to perform. I'm going to get my damn money. Oh
I
my
don't
God.
blame her.
My earphone fell out, James.
I see.